Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Gregory. Welcome to the Monday night webcast with the AFA. This is my first time doing this, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Tonight we have a few things that are gonna happen tonight. The one thing that I've noticed that on most webcasts, from what Bud and John tells me, is there's a lot of you guys out there who have been following these webcasts for quite some time, and you're still procrastinating on whether or not you should go. And I actually want to address those concerns. Also, if you're tuning in for the first time and you have questions, please feel free to ask. But tonight I want to actually quash any concerns that you might have. You have to excuse my voice. I've been working in the backyard all day and it's kind of hot. It's about 112 today, somewhere around there. So got a little sunstroke and I'm losing my voice, as you can tell. Anyway, so tonight in about 15 minutes, I actually have a friend of mine who actually just got married about a few months ago, and he's going to call in, him and his wife. And if you have any questions for either one of them, please feel free to ask. But the main reason why I wanted them to call is to put to rest any concerns that you might have, because I'm sure he had the same concerns. Okay? So right now, I guess the Kyiv tour is going pretty strong. From what I heard, the Kyiv social had over 500 women. That's a lot of women. That's a lot of women in any one place, let alone one nightclub. Anyway, it went off, I guess, without a hitch. And the second social in Kharkov, that was just last night. That was, I believe, just over 300 women. So as you can see, in two cities, these guys have been introduced to the possibility of meeting 800 women. Can you meet 800 women? No, I don't care who you are. There's no way possible you're going to get around to 800 women in 8 hours. It's impossible. But what AFA does, it gives you the quantity of women that you're never going to meet anywhere else. The one thing that I've noticed, what a lot of guys, the main mistake a lot of guys do is when they go to these socials is they go in there with all the greatest ideas of they're going to actually become age appropriate. Okay, they're 50 years old. I don't want anyone under 35, and that's what they go in there with. And as soon as they go in and they see a bunch of women, a bunch of girls who are in their 20s, it's, oh geez, squirrel. They're right off to the side. They lose all their plans are out the window. Guys, you gotta stay focused in these parties, because these girls, they know with 400 or 500 women, it's probably a slim chance that they're even going to get a chance to talk to you. So you've got to stay focused. And how do you do that? No, with a lot of discipline, number one. Number two, you got to go in there with a plan, plain and simple. You got to go in there knowing what you want, number one. And that comes down to, do you want kids? Do you want a woman who has kids? The age bracket. And in these socials, you're going to have a translator. Use these translators, guys. Come on. That's what they're there for. They've been there quite a few times. Ask them, hey, this is the type of woman I'm looking for. I want her to have children. I want a blonde, a brunette. It doesn't matter. I want this age group. And just let them guide you, especially if this is your first time. Let's see here. We got a Trying to wrap my head around visiting a country for 70 days. It's a life partner, but I don't think. Okay, we got our first question here. He's from Orlando. He's trying to wrap his head around visiting a country for about 7 to 10 days and falling in love that quickly as to pursue a marriage relationship. Would love to find a lovely wife and a life partner, but I don't think it's realistic. It's a realistic timetable. I can see a long-distance relationship with several visits over a period of 6 to 12 months leading to marriage. Can you speak about this, guys? Yeah, you're right. It is kind of a realistic idea to go over there for 7 to 10 days, find the one, start the fall in love, start the fiancé visa. Has it been done? Yeah, I've seen it. I have actually seen it done. In fact, a very good friend of mine from Australia, it had happened to him. Most of the guys who have gotten married over there, yes, you're right. They have had to go over there several times over a period of 6 to 12 months. It's like anything in dating. You know, you find the one that you feel that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you start courting her. You know, do you have to go back? Sure. But once you go back, I mean, at least you know now that you're going back for a certain woman. Let's see here. I'm trying to. Okay. What's the K one? Is there a different rate of fees for doctor exam and other forms? This question is about the K1 visa. You know, I have no idea what the rates are for a doctor visit or getting the police records. I don't know if it varies from city to city. It very well may. Yeah, I'm sure if the girl's in a small town, I'm sure that rate's going to be a lot less if she goes to a big city like Kyiv. But that would probably be a better question answered by one of the girls over there, because I don't know, but that is a good question. I am going over in September, guys, so maybe I'll ask when I go over there. Speaking of September, September's just right around the corner. So this year, AFA is doing something a little bit different. Instead of just the 3 city tours, they're actually going to be doing, we've already done one 2-city tour, which was in April. I did that tour. A lot of guys who were on that tour who have done 3-city tours, believe it or not, they prefer the 2-city tours. I know you're probably thinking, but that's cutting out one host city and one big social. Yeah, it is. But it's giving you so much more time to actually spend in those 2 cities. Give you an example. On the 3-city tour, which is going on right now, you go from one city to the next city. You're in that second city for a day and a half, guys. Day and a half. You know, less than 2 days. And the reason for that is AFA wants to introduce you to as many women as possible. Okay? That's what that purpose is for. The 2-city tours, it slows it down. You get to actually spend a lot more time, which means you get to see those girls a lot more, and you get to date a lot more in those cities. In September, we're actually having Kyiv and Dnipropetrovsk, which is, it's actually my favorite city for a couple of reasons. But that's a 2-city tour, Kyiv, Dnipro. And then, of course, the second city is going to be Odessa, Nikolaev, and the second tour, Odessa, Nikolaev, and Kherson. So you have the best of both worlds there. You can do all 5 cities, since you're over there, why not? Okay, but if this is your first time, okay, and you don't really want the rush, do the Kyiv-Dnipro tour. Okay, you'll find it very relaxing. It's not so rushed. But if you're thinking, no, Joe, I want all three cities. I want to go for the gusto. Then do the Odessa, Nikolaev, Kherson. Right now, the tour over in Ukraine. Now I'm talking about Ukraine, guys, because that's the only tour I've done. I have just did my 20th trip to Ukraine. Most of those are with actually doing the tours, and that's a lot of trips over to Ukraine. But yeah, I don't know much about the other tours, which the AFA goes to quite a few different cities. I do have another question about women from Mariupol. He wants to know if do women from Mariupol, the Mariupol area, travel to the tour cities? Ed, some do. Okay, some of these women do. I'll give you an example. In September, when we go to Dnipro, I guarantee you we're going to have at least one bus load from Zaporozhye go over to Dnipro. We haven't been to Mariupol in about, I guess, 3 years, maybe 4. I actually did the last tour in Mariupol. Some guys, what they will do is they will, if they're talking to a certain woman from a different city other than the tour cities, they'll arrange to bring those women over to one of the cities that we're actually visiting. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but I personally kind of look at it like bringing sand to the beach. You're going to meet hundreds of women in any of the cities that we actually visit. Why would you want to bring one of the girl that you're actually writing to? That's on you. If you really want to do it, you are more than welcome to. We will help you any way we can. We'll help with the arrangements, and we'll get that girl over to one of the cities that we're visiting. Joe, what is the best airlines I have one question from Steve here. What is the best airlines that I have found that is good? I, for the last few years, have been using Ukrainian Airlines for a couple of reasons. One, it's cheap. And John likes that. 2, it's a direct flight from JFK. There's no stopping in Europe or any place else. It goes right from JFK, and you'll land in either Odessa or in Kyiv, whichever one. Now, if you are going to go fly into Odessa, you will have to go through customs in Kyiv and get on another plane to fly to Odessa. But Ukraine Airlines is the only one I actually fly at the moment. I have flown lots. I have flown Aeroflot. I don't think they're allowed to fly anymore. Is that part of the sanctions? I don't know. And I have flown Austrian Airlines. Austrian's pretty good. Problem is that you usually have to do a layover when you're flying back. So you should try Ukraine. Not fancy, but they actually have just bought a few brand new Airbuses that are absolutely beautiful. I got to fly on one on my last trip, but try them. Yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Curious, what has been your goal in going to Ukraine so many times? What else do you do with all your time over there? As I said, this question is about, I guess, my 20 trips over to Ukraine. I like I said, most of my times over in Ukraine have been running the tours. I do get, some me time while I'm over there, but when the tour's on, believe it or not, guys, being the tour director it's it's nonstop. Either I'm dealing, with the staff, or I'm dealing with the 20, 30 guys that I've got on the tour. When you have 20, 30 guys, you have 20 or 30 different types of personalities, and when I'm over there, I'm all about, I'm all for the guys, because a lot of times, there's a lot of hand holding, unfortunately. But that's why the 20 times. Have I found a women over there? Yeah, I have. I have come close a couple of times. One time I actually had the ring all ready to go, and it sometimes stuff happens. So I think I've got only a couple of more minutes, and there he is right there. This is going to be Brett. Hello.
Hey, Joe.
How you doing, Brett?
Good.
Brett, you're on, and everybody's listening to you.
All right. How long are you guys gonna be on?
Until 6:30. Yeah, 6:30.
Okay.
Why?
I'm about 10 minutes from the house. I got tied up at a job. I can talk to you now, or wait till I get home and give you a call back with me and Dasha.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm sure the guys would rather hear Dasha than you.
I'm sure they would too.
All right, Brett, call me back.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, bye. Yeah, Brett was on a couple of the tours that I led, and believe it or not, he was one of the guys who stole one of our translators. Yes, he married one of the translators. So I wanted actually to get Brett and his wife Dasha to call in, because Dasha, being a translator, she has she can give you advice from a different point of view. She has seen what guys do right. Has seen what guys do wrong. So it's going to be great when they actually call in. Let's see what the next question is. And sorry, guys, I got to wear the glasses. I am getting old. Will the Ukraine women not mind any race? Like, for example, I am African descent, and I would love to get myself a Ukrainian. Okay. What we got here? Jason. Jason's question is about Jason's African American. Believe it or not, guys, a lot of people don't believe this. I am half black. My father was actually black, and Jason's question is about the Ukrainian women and how they perceive African Americans. I have seen quite a few African Americans on tours, quite a few. Have I seen anyone have any problems? Not for the most part. Okay. Are all Ukrainian women going to take to African Americans? No. A lot of Ukrainian women, will not take to me, because they don't actually get to see a lot of African Americans over in Ukraine. But I have seen many guys who have been successful over there with women. So, Jason, the only thing I could tell you is go over and see for yourself. I do not think you'll have a problem. My good friend, just one second. Okay. I had to reset my phone. My good friend Melvin. Melvin was on one of my tours, and there was another African American on the same tour. Melvin's been over there a couple of times. And I don't think they had a problem at all. You know, Melvin keeps on going, so can't be too bad. In fact, this is a question from Melvin right here. A lot of people have a misconception about Ukrainian women. And that's one of the actual concerns that why a lot of you guys haven't actually pulled the trigger and gone on one of the tours. Which is, oh, they only want a green card. What are my friends and family going to say to me? Guys, it's the same concerns that I have had and almost every other guy who has gone on these tours has had. You know, I can only say to you this, okay? If you go over, okay, you're gonna have one hell of a vacation. If nothing else happens, it's gonna be a great vacation with a few hundred women thrown in. You know, are these women going to just throw themselves at you? No. Okay, it's not that type of tour, guys. It's courting, plain and simple. Okay, they're not lined up with numbers and you get to pick which one you want. It's not like that. Okay, and I actually get very upset when people actually think it's like that. Okay, these women have to pick you just as much as you got to pick them. You know, chemistry is something you can't fake, plain and simple. So if you do go over, and I hope you do, please get out of your mind that this is shooting fish in a barrel, because that's the last thing it is. And I'm trying to hold off here for Brett and his wife to come on. Mark over here has a question. He wanted to know what's the advantages of taking the group tour as opposed to going over as an individual. Well, if you've been over there before, Mark, great. You know your way around, great. I know what AFA offers, and they offer this. Number one, okay, you get all the staff at your disposal. Not only do you get to go to the actual socials, you actually have the war room to use at your disposal. What is the war room? Basically, guys, it's where all the dates and everything else happens. Just one second, I gotta take a drink here. Yeah, that's better. What we do is we set up what Bud and I call the war room. John doesn't like it. He likes hospitality suite. I think it actually I think war room sounds better. But what happens is the next day after the social and every day after that, the office staff in that city will accommodate the guys to come in, and they will set up dates for the guys who have met ladies at the social, or if you've already been writing to someone, or you just want to pick somebody out of the website, they will arrange that for you. And going over by yourself, you are not able to use that facility. Also, we also set up tours in each city, bus tours, which are really great. Basically, everything that AFA has is at your disposal, and if you go over by yourself and you actually pay. Yeah, there I am. Oh, sometimes I gotta smile a little bit more, I think. If you go over by yourself, you get, yeah, sure, if you pay for the social, fine, you get the social. But that's it. After the social's done, that's it. If you do need help, if there's a problem, and we'll help you with it, but we're not going to, we're there for the guys, plain and simple, the guys who are on the tours. Okay? I hope that explains that for you. When you say age appropriate, is a 30-year age difference too much? Not also. She's a translator available. Okay, Ed here. Ed's question is, when I say age appropriate, is a 30-year age difference too much or not? Also, how do you communicate with the women after the social if they can't speak English? Ed, I'm just going to be real, okay, because that's the only way I know how. Me personally, I think yes, 30 years is a big age difference. Some people might tell you no, but I'm sure you've heard John and Bud tell you that a generation, which is about 20 years, is about the max that you should go. 30 years, you are really stretching it. That's my opinion. It's only my opinion. From what I've seen over in Ukraine, I've seen that age bracket actually go south pretty fast. But you've got to find out for yourself, plain and simple. In your hearts of hearts what's right and what's not. Communicating after the social, that's easy. I mean, you can take the girl out after the social. Now, during the social, guys, the translator's free. We pay, we arrange that. It's all for free. As soon as that social ends, and let's say you go out after the social, then you do have to pay for the translator, as well as any dates that you might have afterwards, which includes what Ed is actually saying here. So if you go out after the next day, yes, you do have to pay for the socials. I mean, for the translators. The one thing, though, is AFA does have a standing agreement with any affiliate and all the managers in all the cities that during the tour, it's $20 an hour. So, but we would get to that if you actually sign up for one of the tours. So most of these we speak. Jason wants to know if most of the women actually speak English in Ukraine. It depends on the city, Jason. It really does. The bigger cities, believe it or not, yes, a lot of women do speak English because they're exposed to it so much more than the women in the smaller cities. Now, when I said in September we go to Kyiv and to Dnipro, Dnipro is not a small city. A lot of people think it is. It's actually the 4th largest city in Ukraine. It's over 1 million people, but we don't go there very often. So when we do go there, it's a big deal to these women. It's one reason why I like it. But you would actually find in Dnipro, a lot of women do actually speak English, believe it or not, even though they're not exposed to it as much as women in Kyiv, Odessa, Kharkov. Keep the questions coming, guys. Hope I'm doing all right. So getting back to what I've seen guys do wrong and what I've seen guys do right, and also the concerns of guys and why you're still sitting there deciding whether or not you should actually go. Okay? It could be financial. Okay? Which is fine. That part I understand. I really do. But anything else short from that, who cares what your friends and family say? I didn't care. You know, you got to do what's right for you. And trust me, these women wanting a green card is the furthest thing from the truth. I've actually met so many women, and the majority would actually rather me move there. That's what they told me. Because it's one of my first questions: are you actually prepared to move to another country? You know, and I've had many women tell me, well, I would rather the guy move here. Now, if she really wants a green card, why is she saying for us to move there? Think about that. Okay, because these women are all about family. And I'm going to give you a story. A few years ago, a guy I knew was engaged to actually marry a woman over there. He was going through a hard time with his mom. She had dementia, and he and his dad decided they're going to put her in a home. He told his fiance about his plans. She actually called off the engagement and everything else, told him that she did not want to see him any longer, because any man who was going to put his mom in a home, then what is he going to do to her when she grows old and gets ill? That's how much family means to these people. So 50 years, yeah, I know in the Philippines age difference doesn't matter much. How? Jeff here is 55 years old. He knows in the Philippines, a lot of the women, age doesn't really matter to them too much, which is for the most part true. He wants to know, at his age, what age bracket should he be looking at? Jeff, if you went from 35 years old and higher and up, you'd be right spot on. That's 20 years, 35, and I'm going to tell you something. A 35-year-old woman to 40-year-old woman with a child, she's not going to get the attention that the 25 to 30-year-olds are going to get, by far. Okay, and I've seen some stunning 35 to 45-year-old women over there. The one thing you gotta remember though, Jeff, and a lot of you guys, is if this woman doesn't have if this girl at 35 does not have a child, she's probably gonna want one. You know, you gotta ask yourself, do you actually want a child? Because a 35 to 40-year-old, under 40, they're gonna want a kid, plain and simple, if they don't already have one. So that's what you gotta ask yourself. Okay. All right, we got another question here. My friend Melvin actually just sent a message. It's mainly addressed to you, Jason. Melvin is also African American. He's been to Ukraine 4 times in the past 3 years, and he has not experienced any problems due to his ethnicity. Oh, wait a minute. All right. If you're respectful, it goes a long way with the ladies. So here's Brett. Hello.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, hey, Dasha, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Been waiting for this phone call.
It's so funny. Everybody's listening now.
Yeah, the guys are listening. Dasha, since I have you on, okay, you were a translator for how many years over there?
2 years, I think.
2 years. And in those 2 years, What have you seen guys do right, and what have you seen the guys do wrong?
Let me think.
Be brutal.
Be brutal. No. Usually on social meeting, they get drunk. A lot of them get drunk.
Oops.
But it's okay because some women also do the same. But those who are came there for serious relationship, they would not get drunk.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Well, usually I've met a lot of polite and nice people, and girls, they do not like when somebody pushes them to something. They are looking for respect from other guy.
Okay.
Some guys can try to kiss for the first date.
Which is weird to us because that's
Starting to hug them at once.
Oh, trying to hug them right off the bat?
Which is weird for us being Americans. I mean, if you think you have a connection with a girl, we tend to be more touchy-feely. They don't like that.
No, they don't. Yeah, you're right.
I always heard that, but they're not kidding about it. They really don't like that.
Because we need time to get used to a person. Oh, it's true, but I don't know. Well, serious girls, they would not be acting like that. I just know for sure.
What about
you just have to have real connection, and if you will feel the real connection, you will feel it, and everything will be okay.
Okay. What about the way some of these guys dress for these socials? What have you seen?
I'm pretty much sure they can cut out the Harley Davidson shirts.
The Harley Davidson shirts.
I remember there's a couple guys in my crew that were big Harley fans. That's fine, but leave them in America.
I would say it just depends on which restaurant you go or where you go. If you go
Like at the social, just meeting. I want to see someone dressed nicely.
Well, of course, nicely. Without t-shirts, without holes.
Without holes, okay. And what kind of things should they be asking the girls?
What kind of things?
Questions. What kind of questions? Appropriate questions.
Like everything about their life, about their parents, their family, yes.
How did I make that right? How did I do that right?
I don't know, we just started to talk.
All right. Hey, Dasha, let me ask you this. Final question for you. Okay?
Okay.
Talking to these guys, okay, what advice can you actually give them to prepare to go over for one of these tours?
I think just be yourself and be honest to everybody. Don't lie. If you don't like somebody, just don't
drag it out.
Yeah.
Don't drag it out. Okay. Yep. Great.
Just be yourself. Indeed.
Don't.
That's great advice. Thank you, Dasha. Good talking to you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And Brett.
Yeah.
So you, after how many trips did you go over on?
I did 3 or just 2 with you, right? Well, 1 and then came back.
I think so, yeah. And what concerns or what I should say, what fears did you have about pulling the trigger and going over for the first time?
Well, it's a strange country, and I went over it myself, so that was pretty much it. Just the fear of the unknown. Once you get there, it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, everybody's friendly. Just as long as you're not screaming, "Hey, look, I'm an American." They tend not to like that.
Right.
We tend to be louder.
Yes, we do.
Which it's just, I guess, our culture, but keep that kind of down.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so basically, when you went over, before you went over, did any of your friends, family, voice their concerns about you going?
I kept it to myself. I knew what they're going to say. going to hear that.
Right.
Yeah, there was. I did one good friend, and yeah, he tried to be supportive, but you can hear it in their voice, and it's irritating. So I didn't tell anybody really.
Okay. All right. And same question to you. If you could give any advice to these guys, what would it be? Who are the guys who are actually sitting there thinking about going? What advice can you give them?
Age appropriate.
Age appropriate.
I know a lot of, like, when I first was looking into it, 20-year-old women want 50-year-old men. Not usually. I don't know where they got that, but they're not just going to jump on you because you're American or you have money. These women have to leave their home, and I know it was hard for Dasha.
Right.
They're not just going to go with anybody they don't care about. I think it's a myth that I don't know where that got perpetrated from, but it's not correct.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you're right. Age appropriate, and that's what I've been trying to. That's what I've been harping on for the last 20 minutes.
Well, from my side, I would like to say that girls who are 20 years old and 18 years old, they will not like to date. Like,
no.
No.
And don't give them money. Say,
right.
You may check, actually. If she's serious, she will handle it. Like, if she will be asking to buy you all that stuff, like, and only expensive,
yeah.
You can look if you like, you can. But if she
starts asking for extravagant goods, I mean, it's
not
a given. I had my first trip over there. Joe remembers. I stayed in Poltava that first trip. Girl I met, I really liked her, and we hit it off. Had a great time. Lots of fun marriage with the other guy, and we all went out. But when I got back to the States, I wasn't head over heels about it. I mean, it's just kind of what I am. It was fun, but we kept in contact. In the letters, well, it was harder to get a hold of her, for one thing. And I thought we had this connection, and she made it sound that way. And then the letters started to change. Writing. When someone ghostwrites a book for someone else, you can tell the writing's different. That started to happen, and then about the maybe third letter, can I have $500 to go to spa? I'm like, okay, that's enough.
Right.
That does happen. You've got to watch out for that. A lot of these girls.
So how does it feel going from that to having to hand over your paycheck to Dasha?
I don't. She's not a needy woman. She is wonderful.
I'm messing with you.
I never asked. He did it by himself.
I tried to force money on her. She just gets angry about it.
Like, no, I don't see that.
That's when I knew she was.
She was a keeper. She was a keeper. Yep. Hey guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate your time.
I've got one more thing I think might help them.
What's that?
When you do meet a girl, if you spend time with her, she's having you meet her parents or her family or sister, probably for real.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Very important to them. That's a good sign that she's not pulling your wallet.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right there. All right.
All right.
Hey, thanks, Brett. Thanks, Dasha.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
To hit on a couple of things that especially what Dasha was saying, you would not believe how many guys we try to prepare you to go to these socials, but nothing can really prepare you to walk in to a party where there's 300 women and there's 30 of you. Nothing. I mean, you really do feel like you're a piece of meat. So as men, how do we feel comfortable? We head for the bar. Okay, you got to remember one thing. A lot of these women, they already have that there. They've seen their men get drunk and abuse alcohol. They don't want to see it in us. They don't want to see it in a potential partner. So Yeah, it's okay to grab your drink and then that's it. Get away from the bar and start hitting the tables. But when you start hitting the bottle too hard, it doesn't look good. Another thing is Dasha hit it. You know, these 18, 20-year-olds. I don't know about you. I have 4 daughters. The youngest is 22. But when they are in a room together, I can only stand to be in there for about 10 minutes, then I got to get out because the stuff they talk about is just so stupid. So I couldn't imagine being married to someone that age. So age appropriate, guys. I'll be saying it until until I stop doing this. Age appropriate, age appropriate. There's nothing more I can say there. Also, what Brett said about buying things. You can't buy affection. You can't buy love. Come on. You know, would you do it here? That's the big question. If you were to date a woman here, would you take her shopping right off the bat? No, you wouldn't. So why would you do it with a woman that's 8,000 miles away? Okay. I'm gonna pause right now because I want to play an interview I had with one of my last clients on my last tour. His name's John, great guy. He's young, good-looking guy. He has got a lot going for him. So I figured, it should sound pretty legit coming from him, right? So here's John, and then we're going to play a video from an interview with one of the women in the last tour as well.
Hi, my name is Angelica. I'm from Nikolaev. My friend actually came to the social last time, nearly 3 months ago, and she gave me a very positive review about this, so I decided to come and to find my love here. It's a great opportunity to meet your love. It's a great opportunity actually to know a person in a very short period of time. For man, for sure, when he comes here, he can lose his mind because of all of these beautiful girls. But I believe in love. In a foreign guy, for sure, I'm looking security at first of all, and serious relationship, because unfortunately our guys can't be so serious nowadays. What exactly man can do incorrectly on the date? At first I'm looking how he's dressed up. If he totally doesn't care and came to me on a date without roses and some old t-shirt, it will give me some image that he doesn't want to meet with me and he seems that I'm like a friend only for him. The right way for the guy, like for me, for example, for sure, if he will invite me to some nice place for dinner, will came with flowers, and will be a very gentleman with me. But there is one thing which completely turned me off, which you ask. It's, for example, when foreigner guy trying to send me his naked photos, or he's trying to insist on meeting with my mother on the first date. It can be crazy. To turn me on, actually it will be nice if the guy will also like to walk a lot, to speak a lot, and will be very open with me and will try to open all his heart and all his thoughts to me. And what about that, what I can tell a guy to come here? For sure, you should be honest with the girl. You should be honest about your intentions. Maybe your intentions not so serious, or maybe you're really looking for a future wife. And I want to give you advice, try to find something more close to you in age difference also, because it's very, very important. So I wish you good luck in this, and I wish you to find your true love, future wife, your health, your feelings, and everything what you can find. Thank you so much.
That was Angelica, guys, from Nikolaev. She was actually a translator at one of our cities in the last tour. Great girl, absolutely great girl. Guys, you know, I don't understand how someone who has been thinking about going on one of these tours, especially for any period of time, is still thinking about it. I'm available if you need to talk to anyone. If you have any concerns, you can call the AFA office. They'll actually just leave your name and number. They'll send it to me and I'll call you. I have no problem, you know, discussing any concerns, any fears you might have. It's a great time. It really is. One of the other fears is, oh well, I'm afraid to go over to a place like Ukraine in fears of, violence or anything like that. Trust me, I walk the streets at night over there, and it's like any other big city, any other city in the United States. There's places that you can walk, there's places you can't walk, okay? And we will actually educate you on all of that. During the orientation and during our walking tour, we tell you, where you should not be walking. But that's like any other. I'm sure your hometown right now, there's a place where you should not walk at night. But I really feel that there shouldn't be. You shouldn't have any fears to go over. Plain and simple. So, any other questions we have? I don't see any more. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, I already Bob King has a question. How long was the flight from JFK to Kyiv? How many hours? From JFK to Kyiv on Ukraine Airlines, because it's direct flight, it's about 9.5 hours straight flight. But you got to remember, there's no layover anywhere. I know it sounds like a long time, and it is, being on a plane. I have no problem sleeping on a plane. Hopefully you don't either. I have not really. I think I have flown economy on Ukraine Airlines once. I'm not big on economy. I usually fly premium economy or business class, but economy, I think, for these new planes, I don't think is a problem at all. So anyway, I think we're coming to our end. Are we, Kurt? Oh, we still got a few more minutes. My last question is, do these women want to love more because if that's case. Okay. Jason here has another question. His question is, do these women want love more than a wealthy man? Yes, they do. Are you going to get women over there that would love to marry a wealthy guy? I'm sure, just like here, there are those women. Okay, but for the most part, they're not looking for that. My friend Brett here, you should see. I wish I had in fact, next week I'll have a photo of these two. I didn't get a photo of them, but Dasha is absolutely stunning, and Brett's not a wealthy guy. I know many guys like that have married these women, and they're not wealthy. Do I know wealthy guys who have married over there? Yes, I do. Okay, but for the most part, no, they're not looking for that. But guys, you got to stay age appropriate. Okay, I'm 57. There's no way I'm going to go after a 21-year-old. Okay, I know in my heart, I know in my head that a 21-year-old is not going to love me the way I want to be loved. Okay, and let's face it, at the end of the day, sure, it's great to have a 21, 25-year-old on your arm, but this is for life. You got to be able to wake up next to that person, and you got to be able to talk to them too. What do you have? I mean, what does a 50, 60-year-old talk to a 20-year-old about? I have no idea. Okay, last question here. I get around with an electric scooter. Will I have an issue in Ukraine? John, okay, Ukraine doesn't have the same city codes and laws that we do as far as wheelchair ramps, things like that, making sure sidewalks have the access to cross the street. They don't have those laws, okay? The streets, for the most part, are pretty bad, okay? I'm just telling you the way it is. The hotels, yes, they do. The hotels we go to do have those kind of access ramps, but a lot of the streets, Odessa, you wouldn't have a problem with. Odessa's pretty level, but if you wanted to get to the other side of Kyiv, where we are from the hotel, you'd probably have a little bit of an issue. You probably would have to go around, use the back road, because the main street, not so good. Okay. Brisbane, Australia. Just wondering the prices for single tours. Are they for accommodation and services? Hello, Brisbane. I actually lived in Perth for 15 years. In fact, all my daughters were born in Australia. And the tour price, Kurt, is now, do you remember?
For individual?
Just for one tour.
Just to meet one woman?
No. The tour like Odessa, Nikolaev, Kherson. Isn't that 34? Kurt's getting that right now. Okay, but yes, they are for the accommodations, hotels included in that, all the services, all the transportation. The only thing that you've got to pay for is your own food. And as far as services go, apart from the social, like I said, you do have to pay for the translator, if the woman needs a translator, because not all will.
It's going to be $35.95.
It's $35.95 for one tour. Russell wants to know, when I am directing a tour, what are the sequence of events? Well, as far as the tour director, I get there a little day, at least a day before. On the first night, the tour begins, usually always on a Thursday. I'll give the orientation and meet the guys. And the orientations is what to expect in for the coming tour, the do's and don'ts, The timing is so important, guys. You would not believe how many guys have got to knock on their hotel door to wake them up in the morning because we got to go to the next city. But after that first night on the Thursday, you know, we'll go out, a bunch of us will go out to eat, get to know each other a little bit more, and then the next day is usually the walking tour in the city. And that night, which is the Friday, is the first social. So, you know, it's time to get ready for that. We always tell the guys, eat a good meal before the social. And so the socials always go for 4 hours. Sometimes they'll go longer. We've had to stretch socials out because nobody wants to leave. So 4 or 5 hours for the social maximum. And after that, the guys will go out. That's my turn. That's my time to, you know, actually let my hair down and have a drink after that. And then the next day, of course, is date, guys. That's what the tour is about, is going over there, meeting as many women as possible. Usually on that day, and then the next day is we gotta actually get on the bus to go to the next city. Now, like I said, on the 2 city tours, we're actually in that first city a little bit longer before we go on to the next city, because we don't have to rush so much. Anyway, that was the last question. Guys, if you have any concerns about going, okay, I'm not going to sit here, blow smoke, and say, hey, don't. You know, you know, you have legitimate concerns, you have legitimate fears about going. Call the AFA office, okay? Ask them to speak to myself, ask them to speak to anyone in here. But if you really want to talk to me, tell them that you want to talk to Joe, because I am leading the tour in September, and they'll pass your information on to me. I'll call you right away, and you can ask me whatever you want. Okay? So I am doing these Monday night calls for the next few weeks. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I did all right. This is my first time, so maybe next week I'll be a little bit more comfortable, and hopefully I won't be losing my voice. So until next week, guys. Okay, and hope to talk to you soon. Good night.